Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are cookies, but we're going to make traditional Easter cookies, and they are Italian Easter cookies. They're formed either in like a circle, a drop, or a knot. I will be giving you the name in Italian. It'll be printed on the top of the video. But it's a great tasting cookie. They're easy to make, and you can use them for really any occasion because you usually put colored glaze over them. So, I mean, you can make them for Christmas and use red and green and white colors, or, you know, Easter is traditional, but you can, you know, I make them at St. Patrick's Day, and I have you know, I glaze them with the color of green. So you can use them for any occasion. They're great for baby showers and bridal showers and all together. What's nice is you don't have to use a mixer. You don't have to use a hand mixer or stand mixer. You can just use a simple bowl, and that's what I'm doing today. All right, I'm going to give you the ingredients right off the bat, so if you want to jot them down or whatever, you can. And I'm sorry I no longer put the recipe below my video, and I'll explain later. But let's get started. First, you want to start off with 1.5 cups of flour, okay? Also, do put in an additional 2 tablespoons, okay? Into your flour. So 2.5 cups plus 2 tablespoons. All right. And what I'm also going to be putting in is 3.25 tablespoons of granulated sugar. That's 3.25 granulated sugar. I'm also going to be putting in a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm just bringing it all together and stirring it, okay? And then just put a pinch of salt in. All right. Now, once that you have your dry ingredients and they're well combined, okay, what you'll want to do is just make a little hole or a well inside your bowl here, you know, an indentation basically, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 egg at room temperature in that little pocket or well. You're also going to put 1/4 of a cup of butter, or if you don't have butter or you don't like butter, you can use margarine, but you can melt it and then cool it because, you know, you don't want to make scrambled eggs. And then just put that 1/4 cup of cooled butter or margarine on top of there, and then you're going to add 4 tablespoons of milk, again right on top, that you created that little well. Then just with a fork or a spoon, I'm breaking up my egg, and then just bring it all together, and in time, very quickly, as you are bringing this all together, it will form a cookie dough for you, okay? Now, you can get your clean hands in there and mix it too. Don't have to use a fork or a spoon or whatever you want to use, or a spatula. You can just use your clean hands. At least that's what I remember my grandmother always doing. And then once you form the ball, I want to get this all out of the bowl. Just put a little flour on your countertop. I'm going to put the cookie ball right there. And then, again, with my clean hands, I'm just going to work the dough just a little bit. I want to be careful how much flour I put because I don't want it to get heavy or dense. And you just want to work with the dough, bringing it together, kneading it together a little bit till it feels smooth in your hands, okay? So I just like to really spin mine a little bit. And if I need an additional little flour, I add it. But you just want to work with the dough long enough that it feels smooth and it's pliable. It's not sticky anymore, and that you can work with it. Okay? I think I'm just going to give it a little bit more kneading here, because it's a tiny bit still wet. Or sticky, I guess I could say. All right, now once you have that and you're happy with the results, it feels nice and smooth. All right, then I just take a knife. I usually get about a dozen cookies out of this recipe. It really depends how big you want to make them. And then I just roll them out like this. And I guess that's maybe 5 inches, maybe 6, okay? If you find working with your dough, if it's a little wet, then just add a little bit of flour on your countertop or your fingertips. And then I like to just tie a knot in them. Whoops, like that. And then I'm placing them on some parchment paper. Now let's make this next one a little bit bigger so that you can kind of see it a little better, because that was a little small. And the more you do them, you know, you get accustomed of how big you want to make them and whatever. And I'm just, you know, turning it inside and out like that, making a knot. Now when they bake up, it'll be, you know, you'll see the knot, okay, a little bit better, okay? So let's just do one more, shall we? Okay. Now that looked a little too much, so I'm just cutting it away and putting that back with the rest of it. And you can roll it between your fingers, you know, vertically as I was, or on your countertop. And then again, I like to make the knots and just make it like that and put it down on your, and give them some spacing. Give them at least 1.5 inches apart, because they are going to rise and they're going to spread a little bit, that kind of thing. So you get the gist of it on that. Now if you're not using your dough, just put in some saran or plastic wrap and put it in your refrigerator. If you use it at another time, let it cool down, and not warm up, not cool down, I'm sorry. Let it warm up a little bit before you work with it again, okay? Now I'm going to wash my hands quickly, because I was working with raw cookie dough. Now you're gonna bake these cookies at anywhere from, I like to bake mine around 325, yet my grandmother always baked them at 350. But I have, you know, our oven's set up so differently. So, you know, once you know exactly what your oven's going to do, if you want to try the 350 from anywhere from, 13 to say 17 minutes, something like that, you'll want to, you know, check them. To see that you don't overbake them, because you don't want to dry them out, okay? But I have a new oven right now, and I'm finding that baking these at 325. So either one you can safely bake at. Your timing will be just slightly off a little bit. Now once you bake them, then you'll want to put them on a cooling rack, okay? And this is how they will turn out. They will have a nice golden brown on the bottom, okay? Like I said, I usually get about a dozen out of this recipe, and I make them the size that I showed you, okay? So this is what they look like when they're plain. Now, you can roll these in powdered sugar or granulated sugar, but what we like to do traditionally is to make an icing for them, and I made some icing colors especially for Easter. So I have blue here, and yellow and pink, and I'm just giving it a stir. And if you want to make the icing, what you'll do is you'll use about 1.5 to 2 cups of powdered sugar, and go ahead and use about 2 tablespoons of milk. But add your milk very slowly, because you know you don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick either, okay? And then what I like to do is I just take my cooling rack with some wax paper on the bottom. You can use a tray or a Teflon mat or whatever. I like, because I just throw it away. And I just take the cookie, and you can actually dip it in if you want to do that, okay? Or you can just use a spoon as I am and get it all over the cookie. You're going to get it on your fingers though, I gotta warn you. And just take off the excess, and then I like to put them on the rack till they dry, and as they dry they will harden, okay? And we'll do one in yellow real quick here. Again, you can dip them, or you can do as I am, just pouring it over, yet a little bit messy for your fingertips, okay? And let's see, we'll do another one in this one in blue, because these are nice colors for Easter. And we'll just put this on to let it drip. Now, you could take off the excess a little better than I did, so you're maybe not wasting as much sugar, but I want to move it along due to the video. I just want to add a little bit extra there, okay? And again, these cookies are absolutely delightful to eat. They're great with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or cappuccino. And again, they can be eaten unfrosted or powdered sugar. You can also put jimmies, confettis on top, different colors depending on the theme of why you're making these cookies. And I'm going to break one open just to show you. Inside will have a chewy middle. It won't be real dense or real heavy. They actually melt in your mouth. And I don't know or whether or not you'll be able to see it, but I'm just going to kind of squeeze to show you. It's very soft and pillowy almost on the inside. They're really great tasting cookies. Now, I think they're more traditional adult cookie, but the kids tend to like them once they're dipped or they're decorated pretty and they have that little bit of extra sugar taste to them. So, but like I said, they're very easy to make. They're great for Easter. They're great for any time. You can have lots of fun with the kids or your grandkids in decorating them and making them different colors for the glaze and that type of thing. So again, I want to thank you for watching today. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I can't thank you enough. Or ring the bell, give me a like, that would be fantastic. I'm sorry again that I don't put the recipes below the video anymore, because I'm not alone on this, that's for sure. But I got very tired of seeing my work taken to different sites, claimed as their videos and not mine. But really what made me decide not to do it is when I always say, if you try this recipe and you like it, let me hear from you. And I was seeing where people were writing to me and I couldn't answer them, and it was so frustrating and I think unterribly fair. So if you do have a question or a comment, please write to me. I'll do my best to answer in a timely fashion. And I want to thank you again for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. That's the only place I put my videos on. So thanks again. Stay well. Stay safe. Oh, and I almost forgot. Let's show you the finished product there. Stay well and stay safe. I'll see you soon.